something ratchet one time?
Look, I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft? All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop. I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peace. You gon' see the flex when you hear these writtens. Trust me, you know the difference. I got a long ways to climb before you see a slippage. I see the process and the journey I'm supposed to be, but perplexed, cause I don't really see nobody close to me. Hopefully this ain't wasted and I know it ain't. You gotta take the time for seasoning to marinate. You need the patience and the pressure just to detonate. I'm trying to blow up and these heathens need to get it straight. Gifted with a vision and precision, I'm just trying to make it high key. Might be breaking free like I was Zion in some Nikes. Tucked at the crib, bro, you know just where to find me. Making beats and spitting crack verses pretty likely. Yeah, socks with the burst, boy, I ain't changed a bit. Normal guy till I die, you know what it is. You probably thought I'd give up now that I got some kids, but really now I got these arrows aiming at your ribs. I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft? All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop. I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas. Hey, please be on the notice, these my motives. Bought my chicken and it's rotis. You parsimonious, you take it all cause you a locust. My focus is to grow this mission. A visionary, get a dictionary. We here off the rip and we ain't sharing, we just caring. Let me speak it to the manager. We damage her, no you ain't messing with an amateur. I'm ramming, the competition, they ain't standing up. They fanning from left to right cause now they branded us. Now who that is? Mike Jones, they ain't want me now, they all on me. Got counterfeits trying to play me, I guess they thinking I'm Sony. These big head dummies showing up and out of their character. Homie, you need a price cause without it the squad ain't hearing you. Top of that, we ain't fearing you. We swinging for the fences with the sting of a left hook that connects with Sonny Liston. I'm dismissing any and all of the disrespect. Nonetheless, it ain't a threat, I'm just letting y'all know who's next. I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft? All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop. I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas, you gon' see the...
Woo! Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. But need cheap keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They've been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We've been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm coming to you guys from a fresh 33rd year of life. What is going on, Mafia? Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys for spending your precious time here with the Candle Mafia and your boy Frankie Candles. As Bitcoin is sitting at our key level of resistance, guys, are we going to get the rejection? And if we do, are we going to be looking for a massive dump down on Bitcoin, or are we looking to long the dips for another break of 97K, or our, first break in 97K in quite a while? To see that bigger target, I want to talk about some of the higher targets if we break this key level, guys. And I'm going to give you my overall thoughts on the market. We do have a potential high time frame bullish signal printing. However, I think we may be able to get a little bit of a pullback first. I'm going to show you guys the line in the sand. If we do get the pullback, I want to show you where I'm looking for bounces and a key level that, if broken, could potentially be a bit more bearish for Bitcoin. But guys, we have the daily money flow crossed over into the green. This is a good sign, at least as of right now, for a continuation of the longer term trend to the upside. We got a lot to talk about today, Mafia, as we sit at this massive level of resistance. I cannot stress how important this level is, not only being a very strong level of resistance, but a very important level that, if flipped to support, could give us a bigger move to the upside. We're going to talk about those next targets to the upside, and we're going to take a look at a new range that I'm paying attention to, two new ranges, one local and kind of one we've been looking at but extended all the way to current price action. So shout out to the Candle Mafia, and shout out to Tony D. Said, happy birthday, Frankie. It was yesterday. Everyone spam emojis in the chat. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you so much for the super chat, bro. Shout out to Tony D. Yes, guys, I am 33 years old. Oh, God. What the heck am I going to do? I'm just kidding. I had a great birthday, guys. Not going to lie. Mrs. Candles took me out to a Wagyu steakhouse place. Never really had a lot of Wagyu, but this place is crazy. I may have to just go there every single night. It's ridiculous, guys. I don't know if anyone's ever had Wagyu. That was like my first real time having Wagyu. It is not the same thing as a regular steak. It is incredible. I kind of feel like Mrs. Candle's going to make me go broke now because that's all I want to eat now. But shout out to Mrs. Candle. Shout out to Tony D. And shout out to the Candle Mafia. Thank you guys for the birthday wishes. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Lars says 90K retest, then new all-time high. All right. That's what I'm talking about. We're going to talk about something similar, not quite 90K, but I do have a similar level that I'm looking at, and I'm going to go over it with you guys. Shout out to who else we got in chat here? We got Jeff in the chat. We got Mads and Lizzie. What is going on? Said happy B-Day to the one man on YouTube, to the number one man on YouTube. Shout out to Mads and Lizzie. I appreciate you. We got Stupid Bitcoin in the chat. Welcome in, bro. We got Trey Flip Jones, as always. We got Tony D. We got Lusha, Shiba Inu. That is the real Shiba Inu in the chat. What is going on? I got wish happy birthday by the Shiba Inu. Let's go. But yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. Mountain Magnets, what is going on, bro? Let's see. He goes, you're almost exactly a year younger than me, and it makes me feel like I need to pick up the pace on my effort. Shout out to Mountain Mans. Hey, bro, we're all on our own journey. But shout out to Mountain Mans, and happy, I guess, birthday pretty soon. So shout out to you, bro. I don't know what it is, but happy birthday if I miss it. But yeah, we got everybody in the chat today. Let's see. Does the chart say more solar flares are priced in? Shout out to Julio. We're going to take a look at the solar flare chart in a second here. Tony D says, if anyone's wondering, no, I did not get invited. Shout out to Tony D. He did not get invited to my birthday party. I'm just kidding. Mrs. Candles took me out on a little birthday date. But shout out to Tony D. Maybe we'll do a bigger group thing. We'll all go maybe back. Hey, guys, let's go back to that Wagyu place. It's my birthday still, technically. It's still April. So you guys have to pay. I'm just kidding. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump on. Frankie's got the cake. Shout out to Honda Man. But yeah, let's see. Frankie and Mrs. Candles don't need a third wheel anymore. Shout out to Tony D. But anyway, guys, show Tony D and the mods in the chat some love. We got Tyler Durden in here. Rob the Crypto Snob probably coming in here pretty soon. You guys know who the mods are. Show them some love. And while you're doing that, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So here we are. Now, I will say this overall right now, guys. I'm going to start here on the higher time frames. I'm going to start here just on the simple volume profile. Obviously, we have broken above our $91,000 value area low, which is bullish in my opinion, because as we know with the volume profiles, once you break above that value area low, as long as we can maintain inside of this range, we could potentially keep looking up towards that $96,000 to $97,000 level. We all know how important this level is and how strong this level is with tons and tons of confluence up here. It is the POC of the range, and if we just turn off the TA here real quickly, guys, and I just pull that overall golden pocket that we've been looking at, obviously on April 9th, or maybe was it the 9th? Was it the 7th? I think it was the 9th, where we were looking for those bullish divergences to potentially give us that break of our overall macro trend line that we've been hammered down by so many times, looking for that to hold as support. We had money flow coming up on some significant time frames, some market cipher B high time frame bullish signals, looking for that continuation up into our simply, right, we have a lot of levels in here, but overall, right, the reason we looked for price to come up in here towards that $96,000 and $97,000 zone, right now sitting at about $94,500, the reason we looked up towards this zone, guys, just had very, very simply to do with the golden pocket retracements, and obviously this is confluent with our POC of our range, and not only that, guys, we have a ton of naked points of controls up in there. We have a ton of resistance in here, making this not only a strong level of resistance, but also a very important level that we want to flip to support in order to see Bitcoin potentially shoot up towards some higher prices, targeting the value area high at about $102,000 to $103,000. And I am going to bring up another range that I'm looking at, which is pretty much the same range as this, just pulled to our current price action, but I'll bring that up in just a minute. First, I want to take a look at our market cipher B and take a look at kind of what we got going on here. Now, obviously, guys, back here, what we were looking at for the most part to see a big continuation to the upside was that weekly green dot printing with our 10-hour money flow crossover into the green. And you guys can see that 10-hour money flow crossover into the green was the thing that was able to indicate the continuation of the trend where we were going to be targeting the value area low of the range. And now that we are inside of this, guys, this is just alone a bullish sign, right? When you get above that value area low, are we going to be accepted up in here for good and get a move into that POC and then flip up to the value area high? It could be potentially possible here. And I am going to talk about, we do have some things pointing towards a potential correction. But at this point, guys, we have the daily money flow crossing over into the green, which we have been looking at last week. We were hoping, right, with this daily money flow crossover into the green, just like we had the weekly green dot with the 10-hour money flow crossover into the green. That is that market cipher B 116th bullish setup. When we see that on the chart, guys, we know that the anticipation is a continuation, or very often you'll see a big move to the upside. However, right now we have another bullish sign printing on the chart, which could potentially signal more upside, but again, doesn't necessarily mean an instant Lambo candle. I want to get anybody like super FOMO bullish here. We are obviously below major resistance, so we have to be aware of that, but we did get our 2-week green dot to start printing here. Now, we have to be a little bit careful because we do have 13 days and 3 hours for that to kind of flash on and off the chart. If we get a little correction, it might disappear. But overall, this is kind of that next high time frame, simple bullish market cipher signal that I will be watching, very similar to the weekly and the 10-hour. We have the 2-week green dot with our daily money flow crossover into the green. And again, this is a market cipher B116 strategy that could indicate that the overall trend may be able to continue to the upside, where we can look for potential higher lows and then higher highs to come. And then once we break above that $97,000 level, guys, this is the level to flip to support that, in my opinion, would very likely call for a bigger rotation through this range up to that value area high at $103,000, technically sitting at $103,169. Now, we do have slightly higher targets as well when I show you the new range that I'm looking at. And again, it's not a new range. It is it is this same exact range. Remember, when we use these volume profiles, guys, me personally, the way I like to use these profiles is I like to mark off the areas of balance, right? The area where buyers and sellers agree upon a price range, right? Deviates above the high, they sell it back into the range, comes down to the low, they buy it back up, and between the value area high and the value area low is the fair price for Bitcoin. So once we break down out of that range, that is where I stop the range pull for the most part, because again, right, like you don't want to include the imbalanced price action inside your area of balance, right? Because the whole point is to mark out the fair value, and if this is not the fair value, why would you incorporate that in your calculation when looking for those ranges? However, when we get an approach, right, we talk about this all the time, when you get this move up and you start to break back into your range, you could potentially extend that profile, or not potentially, you can just extend that profile all the way to current price action, because now we're back in the area of balance, right? So we could kind of just extend that price action or the range over to the current price action, which gives us this current range right here, which moves the levels very slightly. But I do think it is important, right? Because at the end of the day, there is very key support down below. And again, just in general with the daily money flow crossover, money flow indicates the longer term trend. So in the context of the daily, any pullbacks here would be looked at as potential lackluster pullbacks, higher lows for higher highs to come. Now, it's very hard to tell if we are going to come up to our POC first or if we are going to come down first. And I'll be honest, it is, depending on what happens here first, it will change kind of how I deal with that as far as my trading plan. However, this value area low, I would have this marked off on your chart. Again, it is the profile that we've been looking at, just extended to the current price action. Value area low sitting here at about $89,500, call it $89,468. POC sitting at $97,236. And then the value area high has moved up slightly to about $105,447, right? But again, just a simple volume profile. We look at this as, hey, we broke down below the profile. We got those massive bullish confirmations on the higher time frames into the weekly naked point of control that we were watching forever. We get that to print on April 9th. We look at that as, hey, if we could break out of that trend line, we could potentially see that continuation up with that market cipher B 116 setup that we saw. And then in that case, we'd look to come up to that golden pocket, which again is confluent with that POC. And, now this is just bullish confirmation below the value area. When you get those bullish confirmations, this is the area where you're looking at price as undervalued or oversold. And this is not where you want to be selling your bags, right? We talked about this time and time again as we were coming down here. Everybody was afraid of the bear market. Could the bear market be here? Maybe. I don't fall in that camp. However, still not the best time to sell at the low, right? This is why you don't want to let fear get into your brain when you're looking at the charts like this, because more often than not, when you are most scared is at least where you're going to get some kind of a bounce, right? So I've been saying this a lot lately. If you were in the camp that you think this is the bear market, as we approach these Fibonacci retracements, if you still think the bear market is here, hopefully just getting a bounce to the upside, again, even though I don't fall in that camp, just seeing a pump like this should not really just change your mind to like, oh, we were in a bear market, now we're in a bull market because we pumped. But if you are in that camp of thinking that the bear market was here, we talked about getting this retracement into the golden pocket and how this could be, if you do think, and again, I don't necessarily think this, but this would be the chance to maybe get out at break even or whatever it is. I'm not telling you what to do. It's not financial advice, but here we are, right? We look for that retracement, we got it, and if you thought it was the bear market down there, this is, if you want to stick to your plan, this would not make you bullish, right? You would just think like, hey, this is my opportunity to get the retracement, sell my bags, and then get out for the bear market. But again, I don't fall in that camp, but I know a lot of people did. So I just want to kind of break that down. We got that retracement, and as we know, right, if we're going to look for lower highs and lower lows to come on the higher time frames from a macro perspective, this golden pocket might be the first area that gives us an opportunity to put in a macro lower high before coming down and breaking structure to the downside. Now, I want to talk about the possibility of this potentially happening because there is a line in the sand that if broken, I would anticipate this to be the case. But as of right now, as we remain inside our volume profile here so beautifully, with money flow coming up on the daily, I would have to just look at this through the lens of lackluster retracements, higher lows, and higher highs to come. Now, if we come up to the POC first, as you guys know, we were looking for short. We actually took shorts up here. I showed it on Friday. We took shorts up here in the premium Discord. Over my birthday weekend, right? I was out and I moved my stop loss again, guys. Like, I have to be honest with you. I am probably like 25 for 25. Moving my stop loss too early, right before I go to bed or something, and getting stopped out at break even before price continues in the right direction. But, on my birthday weekend, I didn't want to have to stress out over the chart. So once we wound up coming down, we had those 4-hour bearish divergences that we looked at on the live stream on Friday. We had the higher highs on price action into our key level of resistance, which was sitting here at that daily naked point of control. We put in those 4-hour bear divs as we expected. Not only were we expecting that, guys, we saw these momentum waves forming right here. And this is where we were looking at this saying, hey, we have key resistance above. This momentum wave looks like it might want to form a bear div, which would be a nice bearish confirmation to see a little bit of a correction down, which we did see over the weekend beautifully. But if we're going to get this bearish divergence at a lower high in the momentum wave, what do we need? We need that higher high into the key level. And that's how we were able to predict that for that nice entry to the downside. But unfortunately, I did get stopped out. I moved my stop loss early. I got stopped out at break even, but that's totally fine. I'm going to find another entry here for the short, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But the question is that the top before the bigger correction down, or are we going to come up one more time? Because we did front run some very, very key levels of resistance here, guys. We have the golden pocket starting at about 96.3, and then we have the POC sitting at about $97,100. Obviously, the top of the golden pocket is there as well. And we also have a monthly, where's it at? Monthly naked point of control that we also just barely front ran here. So I will say, although we rejected the daily naked point of control, we do still have a plethora of resistance up here. With the monthly naked point of control, with the golden pocket, we also have a weekly level right on that golden pocket. So we have tons and tons of horizontal resistance in here. So I'm going to kind of talk about what I'm looking for, right? If we get another move to the upside, obviously POC is going to be a really big level if we just clean up the horizontal levels. Just in general, right? We're going to be looking at this from a volume profile perspective. If we are going to continue up here in some form or fashion, the next real simple level within the profile to look at is the POC at about 97,244. And then obviously we have all that confluence up there as well, with the MPOCs, etc. You can just see it's all clustered in here. So that is still a major, major level of resistance. We really only came to that kind of first level, which was the daily naked point of control. So I'm going to mark this out with the purple box. This does sit between about $96,000 and $96,624. So if we do continue up, I will be looking for potential rejections in here. If we're able to break above this level, the resistance still lives above, right? We obviously have a lot of confluence in this zone right here between 96 and 96 and 96,624. But if we continue up, obviously, keep in mind $97,187 or 97.2 POC, and then just above that, we have a daily naked point of control and a daily horizontal closer to about 98.3. These are the most important levels to the upside, and from a simple standpoint, right, we could just mark this out as a massive zone. Right, I personally will be looking for entries on this zone if I get the triggers. I will be taking shorts up here. However, only with those confirmations, to be very clear, right? It's not just if we push in here, I'm going to instantly short. But I like to separate it into separate zones, right? So I will take, if I do take a short here, I will be treating that pretty carefully, right? If I get the confirmations. But if we break above that, right, we still have the POC, which is a major level. I would really like that to get hit, especially when you start looking at the golden pocket. The golden pocket is sitting up there as well. So it would be really really nice to come up into that zone, but this is, for the most part, just to like mark this out from a very simple standpoint on a higher time frame, right? This is a very confluent level. It sits all the way between 96,000 and 98.3. This is the big zone that I will be looking at for a bigger rejection, right? And then if we get that rejection, I'll talk about the key support levels, because remember that money flow is in the green, so we can potentially look for higher lows and higher highs to come. And I want to talk about that line in the sand that, if lost, would call for a massive dump down to zero. I'm kidding. Not zero. I'm just joking, guys. Shout out to Jay Violet in the chat. What is going on? We got Gennaro in the chat. Let's see. Gennaro says, Frankie, I thought you don't trade within the range. Shout out to Gennaro. That's actually very true. For the most part, right, I don't like taking trades in the middle of a range unless there is a specific reason, right? It has to go along with some kind of thesis that I have, right? So, for the most part, when we trade the volume profiles, guys, just to kind of like label this very simply, right, we look for longs below the value area low for a reclaim of the value area low, right? And then we look for price to come up to the POC, which maybe we're approaching right now. And then once you get above the POC, you would look for the continuation up towards that value area high, right? So the highest probability trades, in my opinion, right, are always going to be had for longs at the lows, right, or below the lows, and shorts at the highs or above the highs. And you could just backtest this on any volume profile. It is the case, right? This is why we trade this so much in the Discord. It's just because it's super high probability. You deviate above the high. This is looked at as expensive. You look for the high probability rejection back into the range, get stuck in the range, go back to the POC, and then eventually get back down to the value area low. You hold the value area low, high probability, obviously with confirmations. You're not just blindly longing these levels, but if you can get the confirmations, you could say, well, hey, this is undervalued. If we could hold this as support, look to go to the POC, back to the high, deviate above, back into the range, can't get back out, back to the POC, back to the value area low, so on and so forth. And this is how I trade a volume profile on the daily, the weekly, the 4-hour, the 2-hour, the 5-minute, doesn't matter. This is typically how I trade the profiles. However, if you have a reason to potentially look for a rejection at a POC, this is possible, right? And the reason why I would be open to looking for shorts here, and it's not that you can't short within the volume profile or within like at a POC, you just have to understand the context of the market, right? And that's why trading is a very contextual thing. Like not all ranges are going to be traded equal. Not all Fibonacci levels are going to be created equal. It all depends on like the higher time frame context, the overall market environment that you're trading in. But the reason why I am looking for shorts here is just very simply because we have such macro resistance and this POC has confluence on the golden pocket, which could potentially be a big area to put in a lower high before putting in another macro lower low. Now, I'm not saying we're definitely going down there. Don't get scared. I'm going to talk to you guys about exactly how I'm going to be handling this. But that is a great question, Gennaro. More often than not, when I talk about volume profiles from a very simple perspective, that's how we trade them, right? It's just simply you look for the value area low, POC value area high. You look for the longs on the deviations below to the POC to the high, right? That's the high probability long situation. And then the high probability short situation is above the high, back into the range, back to the POC, back to the low. Laws on the volume profile state, right, that once you get above here, there's a very high probability you will fill that, rotate to the value area high. But because we have the golden pocket sitting at that POC, it does open up an opportunity for me to look for a short position in case it is a macro lower high. Because if we're looking for lower highs, on the higher time frames, where would that lower high very likely come in at? Well, it's probably going to come in between the golden pocket and the 786. I'm focused more on the golden pocket because we have so much confluence in there. But that is technically the area where you could put in a macro lower high if you are going to continue down. And that gives me an opportunity to look for shorts here. And even if that weren't the case, if you have a reason to look, if you have confluence, whatever it is, you could look for shorts on the POC. You just have to understand that overall, maybe you come to the POC and you reject. And we're going to be doing this on this short position too, right? Because again, money flow on the daily is coming into the green. So I don't know, right? Nobody knows if we're going to reject this POC and come down to lower lows and reject that golden pocket, because that's the high probability area to potentially put in the lower high to continue the overall downtrend, right? But we don't know if we're going to do that or if that money flow is going to hold us up, hold some of this support, and give us the higher high. Because based off daily money flow, you would be looking at this as a lackluster retracement to the downside for a higher low and a continuation of the overall trend. Money flow indicates the overall trend almost all the time, right? Like very rarely fails us. So you could still look for shorts here, but you just have to understand the context and say to yourself, well, hey, for example, even if I pull up the previous range, right? If I take a short here, same thing with the short that I took on Friday up here, that started playing out. If we came down to the value area low, I have to think to myself, hey, I knew there was a lot of resistance here. I got my confirmations to enter the trade, but on my way down, if that money flow on the daily is in the green and I'm coming down to key support, I just want to understand that, like, hey, maybe this is not going to give us the big dump to the downside, so maybe I want to take some profit, move my stop loss. But it doesn't mean you can't capitalize on that, somewhat small move to the downside before continuing up, right? We can make money on this move. We can make money on this move. We can make money on that move, this move, that move. It doesn't matter, right? We don't need to necessarily call the bottom or the top. As long as we can get volatility, we can capitalize on those moves. So as a general rule of thumb, I always say, and this stands true, right? Highest probability long position would be on the deviation below the low. High probability short position would be at the value area high. But locally, we might be able to find a little short here, capitalize on the move down before putting in the higher low. So shout out to Gennaro. That's a great question. But hopefully that kind of explains everything is contextual, right? And on the fact that we have all these super high time, like a monthly naked point of control is not to joke around about, right? Like that is a big high time frame level, especially with the macro fib POC of this not 7 month range, POC of this massive range that we've had, like massive resistance, right? And I talked about this on Friday where it's like, sure, we have massive resistance above, which is kind of a bummer, right? Because maybe we do get the correction. But once we could get above that zone, guys, and flip this to support, could open up the door, right? Because now you've gotten above all that key resistance, right? All those strong levels, and now you flip them to support, right? So if we could get above that POC and get acceptance above that POC, that's where I'd be looking up towards that move, towards that value area high. And we all know, I talk about this every day, we all know we have all that liquidity on the heat map sitting above about $99,500. See, do I have this open? Let me see if I can pull this up on the heat maps. Let me see, pull up the 1 month time frame real quick. Come check in on chat real quick. Let's see. Shout out to Sweet Biddy McGee. Says, Frankie Candle's the man of the hour. Too sweet to be sour. Let's go. Yo, shout out to Sweet Biddy McGee. Let's go. 9 to 5 crypto content in the chat. Says, yes, we call it the ICT kill zone for short entry to 97.2K. I see 97,200. I see. Shout out to 9 to 5 crypto. Shout out to ICT. That's actually funny. We talk about how all these strategies, right? ICT, smart, which is basically smart money concepts. My strategies, any strategy you're trading, is very likely, like at the end of the day. And like people who are like super passionate, like about their strategy, like my strategy is the best, might not like this, but at the end of the day, right, we're all looking at the same information, right? And I say this all the time, where I might be looking for a golden pocket POC rejection, right? Like I know ICT, I'm not super familiar with how they like the exact entry model that they use, but I do believe it like has to do with like breaks of structure to the downside and then bearish retests of fair value gaps. But more often than not, whether you're looking at a fair value gap, a volume profile, Fibonacci levels, if you're looking for a fair value gap up here, very often, right, we would be looking at the same trade just from a different kind of context. This is just the way I prefer to look at the market. We're all looking at the same information, but where an ICT trader, and I don't know what kill zones are, maybe it's a different strategy than what I'm talking about, but where an ICT trader might be looking for a retracement into a fair value gap, we might be looking, okay, hey, we broke down out of a volume profile, and now we're retracing into a golden pocket for a high probability lower high, and we would be looking pretty much for the same exact trade, just looking at it from a different kind of viewpoint, which is good, right? Because you don't have to go strategy hopping. We're all pretty much looking at the same information. As long as your strategy is sound, you just kind of want to go with what makes more sense to you. That's why I never shove my strategy down people's faces. Like if someone says, oh, I trade ICT and it works better than when I tried volume profiles, I'd be like, then you 100% should go trade that strategy, right? Maybe it just makes more sense. For me, volume profiles have always just been the end all be all for me. It just makes so much sense for the price action to always be seeking fair value, and it works out perfectly. It's like literally how we make most of the calls on this channel is based off the volume profiles, but that doesn't mean you can't use other things to do it, right? It's just the way I like to understand the charts. It makes the most sense for me. It's simple and super high probability, right? But yeah, shout out to, that's nice that is confluent with the ICT kill zone as well. Let's see. It's all about confluence, like matching up the golden pocket right below a value area low. Absolutely. And speaking of that, I do want to talk about this. So just from a general standpoint, guys, this is the big level of resistance, right? If we come on in here, we get the rejection, we could get a bigger retracement, and I want to talk about those key levels of support that I'm watching down below. Number one, very obviously, right, value area low of the range. We've gotten in here, right? We might want to come down and retest that as support, right? basically what we look at on every profile that we watch, right? So if we do get the retracement, right, I would honestly prefer I think it might be more likely to come up first, but if we came down first, I would really like watching this value area low at about $91,000. We also have a daily naked point of control sitting here. So this is going to be kind of like local support number one, right? And we do have a new volume profile being formed right here, little mini range that we got. So, at that point, if we do get the push to the downside, whoops, let me turn this blue for support, right? This is going to be level number one. We got above the range. This is bullish, right? We're above the value area low. That's the doorway to higher prices, right? It doesn't guarantee that you have to go to the value area high, but if we did come down here, we have the daily naked point of control, and we have the value area low. This would be really nice if we came down, retested this as support. If I get bullish confirmations, I will be looking for long positions. And if we don't tap the POC first, the target for that would be the POC of the range, right? Like just from a very, very simple standpoint, looking at the volume profiles, right? Like even if you're not looking at your fib levels, right? POC, we get into the range. As long as we hold above that value area low, we could look for that POC to be the next stop. If we come up first, right? If we get the push into the POC first, it wouldn't make me bearish, obviously, right? At the end of the day, we're back in our volume profile, right? Like I try to keep things as simple as possible, right? Like anytime we get back in, right, we look to go to the POC, back to the value area high. Anytime we get above, we know there's a chance that we could get accepted back in, go to the POC in the low. So we're above the $91,000 value area low. Very, very nice. Makes me feel bullish with the daily money flow crossover into the green, which is even nicer. With the 2-week green dot, which is even nicer. But again, as you tap up against this key resistance, I do think if we get a rejection, we might have to endure a little bit of a pullback before putting in a higher low and a higher high. So level number one is going to be that daily naked point of control, value area low confluence. I'll be honest, guys, there's not really much more at that level. But the value area low is a pretty big level to watch, right? So that does kind of, not that it counts as multiple levels of confluence, but it would be really nice, right? It would make a lot of sense, in my opinion, to come back down, test this. If we hold it, you could target the POC. And then once we get above that, you have that 98.3 level. But once you get above that POC of the macro range, right, as long as we could spend some time up here, build up some support, it could cause that bigger move to the upside. And just in terms of the volume profile, you would say, hey, we got from the low to the POC, flip the POC, look to go to the value area high. But we do want to see some nice acceptance up here. We don't want to see like a quick wick and then a big rejection, right? That would be bearish. And in that case, it might be that macro lower high that we've been looking for on the golden pocket, right? High probability area to put in a lower high if we're going to do that, right? It's very hard to say right now. But that's going to be key level number one, $91,000 value area low. Now, if we take that a look at our current range now, right, with that same range extended to current price action, sure, we have the daily naked point of control, but if we lose that, the next area that I really, really hope that we bounce off of, and this is going to quickly lead into the line in the sand that would kind of make me flip more bearish. The next key level, speaking of, I forgot who said it. Somebody said when you look for the golden pocket in confluence with the value area low, we do have the current value area low, which sits closer to about $89,463 with the golden pocket when pulled from our impulse all the way to the high here. This does sit, and there is more confluence here as well. Value area low, local golden pocket. This would also bring us down to retest this structure. One of the reasons why this looks really nice to me is the fact that we broke these highs, right? We got the change of character on the higher time frames, and we talk about this with Lux Algo a lot. Actually, pull up a clean range or clean chart here real quick. Pull up Lux Algo, and we'll come up to a little bit of a higher time frame. Bada boom, bada bang. We'll pull up like the 3-day, right? So you get that bullish change of character. We break these highs at that point, right? Obviously, we're at resistance, but with daily money flow coming up, with the bullish change of character here, candlesticks turn green. This is where, wow, that just, okay. Smart Trail just flipped bullish on the 3-day, literally just now. But at this point, right, you have the change of character. At this point, this is letting us know that we may be changing trends here, and any pullback could be looked at as lackluster to put in a higher low and a higher high. And again, that is based off daily money flow on Market Cipher B, as well as just flipping the structure here, would be a really nice look. And you can see these highs are coming in at about $89,000. So when we bring up the actual key levels, you can see not only is it structural, but we also have the golden pocket and the macro value area low sitting at about between 89,000. Bottom of the golden pocket comes in at about 88K. Now, we also have another key level sitting here, which is going to be our previous range. Whoops. Where is it? lower range. There we go, right? We have our previous range from below, value area high coming in that zone as well, right? So this would be a very nice level. If we don't hold the 91K previous value area, we could look to come down to the current value area low, golden pocket, previous value area high. And again, that number does sit between 89.5 and 87.961. This is where I would really want to see a bounce, right? Because if we do not hold that level, right, if we don't hold this value area high, value area low, golden pocket, confluence, I don't think there's much else in there. Maybe an anchored VWAP, no monthly. Yeah, not really. Let me see the anchored VWAPs really quickly, see if we can get another level of confluence in there. I don't think it's going to be this one. Yeah, you might have the anchored VWAP from the low here coming up in that zone as well. So you do have a little bit of confluence there as well. But here's the thing. If we come down there and we wind up losing the value area low of the upper range and we start getting accepted into the value area high of the lower range, this could be a little bit more bearish in my opinion. Now, does this mean that we are definitely going to make new lows? Obviously not. We clearly, if you guys can't see here, we have a ton of support here on the POC. We have a daily naked point of control, daily naked point of control, daily naked point of control, POC of the range. We also, I believe this is the golden pocket of the full move here. Yeah, golden pocket just underneath these lows. We also know that we have a ton. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it on this chart. Yeah, 83.5. We also have a ton of liquidity sitting down there, which does give us an opportunity to potentially look for an SFP of these lows. But at the end of the day, I would prefer, right, to hold if we're going to hold the aggressive uptrend, I would much rather hold these other levels, 91 to call it $88,000. I would much rather hold these because once you get accepted in here, sure, we could come down to the POC. Maybe we get the golden pocket retracement, but then even then, if we're looking for longs off an SFP here, you're just within your range. So we will be looking for those longs, but we have to look at them through the lens of potential, we'd have to look at them as scalps until proven otherwise, right? Because you're kind of just longing at the POC, and then you're coming into resistance, which actually goes to, touches on what I think Gennaro just said. Was it Gennaro? We don't really like, I just generally don't like to long in the middle of a range. Not that I won't do it, but for a big move up, it's just like you have to long here into resistance. Now, could you just break out, get back into the range, come up to the POC and go back up to the high? Sure. But I would just say, like, at the end of the day, not only are you getting accepted into your lower profile, but you're also kind of like invalidating that break of that change of character too, right? Like we don't really want to come back down below these highs, in my personal opinion. Again, could we bounce? Sure. But it's just a different situation because it's like, got to kind of be careful with that because, like, maybe you're just going to continue your downtrend and make new lows. So that's the line in the sand for me personally, right? Basically, 88,000, I would say 88K, right? You don't want to get back down below that level. And not just because that's I don't want to go down to 88K, but the exact reason is because of the theory of the volume profiles, right? Now, technically, right, from a market structure perspective, right, we could bounce off the golden pocket. This is the situation that we talked about similar to August 5th, right, where you start getting the high time frame bullish divergences, you start to get the bounce, and then you get that deeper retracement. Sure, that's possible, something like this. We've been looking at this for a long time, saying, like, is that how the bottom is going to form? So, if you do get below 88K, you could see something like that where you bounce off the fib levels. But it's just not as pretty, in my opinion, because I was talking to the premium Discord earlier today. If we do get the move all the way down here, chances are your daily money flow is probably going to be crossing back into the red. If I had to guess, right? I can't guarantee that. But if we start working our way down here, we don't hold here, we get sucked in here, we come down to the golden pocket. At that point, it's like, it doesn't feel as good, right? Right now, it's like, hey, lackluster retracement, higher low, higher high, money flows in the green, that's nice. If we come down here, money flow is not necessarily going to cross into the red. But if we make our way all the way back down here in this range, daily money flow is probably going to look a little wonky, back in the red. And at that point, it just doesn't feel as bullish, right, for me personally. So, it is support down here for sure. But I just, I would much prefer the bigger levels or the more important levels to get held at 91, daily naked point of control / previous range value area low. $91,000, lose that, coming on down here to between $89.5 and about $88,000. And again, not just the volume profiles, it's also the just the structure in general. So there you go. That is pretty much the big key levels that I want to see hold. And I'll be honest, like just from a market cipher perspective, we'll see if we get the cool off here. We'll see what happens. But daily money flow in the green, 2-week green dot, which again has 13 days to invalidate. So it's not like it's confirmed. Oh my God, we're going up. But it would be really nice to see that, right? It's the exact same thing that we looked at here with the weekly green dot and the 10-hour money flow crossover. That 10-hour money flow crossover would oftentimes give you the indication that the trend will continue to the upside. Same thing with the 2-week and the daily, just a higher time frame. And if we do end up getting the bullish move here, right, pull up the current range, POC just in general, flip that to support, right, could bring us up. Obviously, the first level I would watch is the previous range value area high at about 103K. Once we start breaking above that, I could look at the current range with the value area high, which actually creeps up towards about 105.5K. And obviously, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. It's really hard. You know, we talk about this all the time, right? Like, it's hard for me to say, like, if we get down here, right, and maybe daily money flow for whatever reason. It really depends on what happens before we get down there, right? But if we got down here and like daily money flow is looking good, 2-day money flow is looking good as well, maybe I will be looking for a big long. But just like generally from what we have on the charts right now, I don't want to break these highs, to be honest. I'd rather just hold these for a more significant, like a stronger higher low for the continuation up. And then hopefully if we do get that bigger move and we come down here, right, we will have that short from the high as well. So there you go. Let me come in and check out chat real quick. Hamsters are scary, cute, but scary. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Actually, my sister had a hamster have a seizure in her hand and latched onto her finger and like chewed through her finger and would not let go because it was having a seizure. So they are kind of scary, especially if you have a nasty one. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Panty Hamster. That's where that came from. Shout out to Panty Hamster in the chat. We got Cuz I Can Bump It, or Koozie Can, as I like to call him. We don't have the Koozie Can right now, but we do have the black coffee. We got the black coffee. We're going to take a look at some altcoins as well here, guys. Chewy says alt season soon. We'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance, and I will say, yeah, we'll take a look at Solana. We'll take a look at Ethereum, and then we'll take some requests from the chat. Shout out to Forward Surgical says, why do you never use Market Cipher DBSI? I do use Market Cipher DBSI, I guess is the simple answer to that question. Not something I keep on the chart constantly, right? Because like once you have too much stuff on the chart, it just gets too cluttered for me. That's why my templates, if I turn on my Market Cipher template, right, I have Market Cipher A. I toggle this on and off, right, just to keep the chart clean. I have the VPVR, which I turn on and off, right, just to keep the chart clean. DBSI, I keep it off, right, but I'll turn it on to kind of check it. And yeah, so I guess simple answer is I do use it, right? And actually, funny enough, we do have the support here. Probably going to be coming up towards about 88K. If we do get that move down, that would be very nice, right? It's red, flips green, retested as support. Kind of goes along with my thesis here. And then we have a 9 versus a 2 here. So technically stronger momentum on the bottom here. That would be bullish, or more bullish, at least on the 10-hour. Let's check the weekly here. Whew! 17 versus a -5 on the weekly. That is definitely a good sign as well. If you guys don't know about Market Cipher DBSI, Dual Band Strength Index, you basically look at this, right? The higher number is typically it's like a tug of war, right? Like the strong number, the higher number typically is the favorable direction, right? Obviously not like a buy signal, but does actually kind of help a lot with direction, right? So yeah, but this could obviously change over time as well. We still have another 6 days to confirm our next candle, so that will obviously change as well. But I do turn it on and off from time to time. But I do just like to keep the chart nice and clean. But great question. Let's see. Casper and Chainlink collab working with the team providing on-chain data streams. Their oracles on Casper Network. Shout out to the dude, the dude. What is going on, bro? Maybe we'll take a look at Chainlink today. We haven't taken a look at Chainlink in quite some time. Let's see. We're going back down to 72K, Frankie. So I will talk about that, right? So if, right, the bearish case plays out here, because one thing I do have to point out, guys, is, right, it's going to have a lot to do with what this money flow does, right? Daily money flow in the green, but if we come up to the 2-day, 2-day money flow trying to come up as well, which is nice, but your VWAP is coming down. And when we start looking at the 3-day money flow, the 4-day money flow, like I don't want to get it twisted. Like I am not just full-on mega bullish here for a massive new all-time high or even 105K, just because as of right now, we're still below massive resistance. And when we look at something like the 3-day, right, our 4-day money flow started to come back up. This actually doesn't look that bad. But, the overall kind of thought process here for us was the fact that we have the macro golden pocket retracement, right? And if we are going to put in a lower high and a lower low, breaking structure to the downside once again, right? If that 3-day red dot prints and this money flow crosses into the red, that would indicate, right, that the downtrend is going to continue. And if we do break those lows, obviously, as we've been looking at, between $72,000 and $70,000 would be that next support level. So in the case, right, where we do see this be the high probability area, if we put in a lower high, this is a very high probability area where it would happen, right? If we do wind up getting that, right, and all the money flow comes back out, and that's why I say I don't really want to lose $88,000, because at that point, we're back in our lower range. Daily money flows crossing over into the red. That's very likely to leak out into the other higher time frames. Red dot on the 3-day print. Maybe this money flow comes out. That would indicate the trend is going to continue to the downside, which would make us target the $72,000 to $70,000 level. Simply put, right? This has been our overall thesis here in the bearish scenario. If that bearish scenario plays out, that is what I would expect to happen. Golden pocket from the August 5th low all the way to the all-time high sits up here. Value area high of the 7-month range also sits confluent with that level. And even beyond that, we do have some points of controls, right? Naked point of control sitting at 68,600. Weekly naked point of control just below the POC at about 65K. So you do have some support down there, but and just the idea of like the structural highs here, that would be where I would expect if we are going to continue that downtrend from the golden pocket. That would be kind of where I would be looking for the next bounce, and then maybe it's all-time highs from there, or maybe 50% correction. But again, we'll cross the bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? Because again, there's no way to tell what the money flow is going to look like, until we get down there, right? Once we break 88K, then we're like, oh man, daily was looking good, and now it is no longer looking good. And then at that point, you have the 3-day money flow crossing over, and things start to look a lot more bearish. And it would look more likely, in my opinion, that we would get the break of structure to the downside. So that is definitely something that could play out. That's why we've been talking about this key level of resistance so much, and that's why we have the short setup currently that I got stopped out of because I moved my stop loss too early. But that's why we're looking for shorts up here. If that does happen, we are very likely going to be short from the top. So there we go. Shout out to Chewy. Said you're not allowed to show bearish scenarios. I know, Chewy. I know. Nobody likes to see the bearish scenario. I know. Let's see. Yeah, there's a red dot on the daily. Yeah, red dot is confirmed. I'll be honest. I kind of wish that already played out, right? Like daily red dot did give us that little move down over the weekend. What was that from our last short setup? Like nice little 3.3% move to the downside. And man, like I literally got stopped out by like $1 here, moving my stop loss a little bit too early, but it was my birthday. I didn't want to stress out over the charts. I either wanted to get stopped out at break even or just let it play out. Unfortunately, it did stop me out at break even. But if I did not move that stop loss, I would still be holding this short in it. Same thing as last week, right? Like I held that short. We talked about that trade on Friday, and I was like, hey, listen, if we do get stopped out of that, I'll just look for the next short setup on our next key level. But yeah, we didn't even get the move up. They just stopped me out, and it just continued to go sideways. But that daily red dot, is that played out already? I would have thought if that daily red dot was going to bring us down more, it probably would have happened over the weekend. But yeah, either way, money flow being in the green, the red dot would more indicate an ebb or flow for higher lows and higher highs at this point, right? Until we break 88K and see the money flow come back into the red. Then we look for the bigger correction to the downside. Let's see. I need some eat sauce. All right, so let's jump into Ethereum. We'll keep an eye here on Bitcoin as the price action develops, but we'll take a quick look at Ethereum here, and I'll be honest with you guys here. What is Ethereum doing, right? And I think a lot of people who are new to trading don't understand or have a hard time understanding this. It's like Ethereum is going sideways, and people are like, how could you say that? We had a massive dump, a massive pump, a massive dump, a massive pump, a massive dump, right? It's like, well, that is sideways, right? But let's take a look here. Let me come on over to the public chart here. Take off the indicators. So obviously, what we have been looking at on ETH recently was very simply the let me pull up the other mini range, right? So we looked at this in two contexts, right? We have the mini range, value area low. As we were getting stuck under here, we knew this was going to be the doorway to higher prices because based off the volume profile laws, right, once you break up above that value area low, the next likely place for price to go is going to be where? Somebody put it in the chat. Answer the question. I know you guys know. Once you flip above that value area low, obviously, you are going to be looking for that POC to get tapped. That is what acts as a magnet for price. The POC is the strongest magnet within the profile. So we know once we get above there, we can anticipate the push up into the POC. And we also have the golden pocket retracement there, making that target number 1. And then target number 2, right, if we do continue through this range, right, maybe we get another pullback to the value area low, which is going to be support here, golden pocket value area low confluence, 786 living just below that. But if we are able to continue, regardless of what happens in the meantime, right, we continue above the value area low, flip that POC golden pocket. When you flip a golden pocket, where's the next likely place for price to go? 786 Fibonacci retracement. Once you flip above the POC, where's the next likely place for price to go? Value area high of the range, which would be sitting right here, both in perfect confluence at about 1940. Beautiful, beautiful time to be alive. I was born that year, by the way. But that all remains the same, right? We know, break this, go to the POC. We got that. And since that last analysis, our next target was up here, and we just kind of been going sideways here. Now, if we do get above that, obviously we're looking towards the value area high, but if we pull up our bear market range here, similar situation, right? Just a little bit of a different context. You could see the value area low of that local range, right, is sitting right on the POC of our larger range, right? So if we do come down here, we still want to hold above this POC to continue back up towards the value area high. But if we lose this 786, guys, it could indicate that we are going to lose that value area, POC of the range for a bigger drop down to the larger value area low, sitting at about $1,300, right? That would be the bearish case, right? That would be Bitcoin, losing $88,000. This is what I would be looking at on ETH, right? POC of the range, 1633, huge level of support. Not only is the POC of the range, but obviously it is going to be the value area low of your profile, right? So sure, we could bounce there, right? But if we lose it, get rejected out of the range, the next key support will be at about $1,300 at the bear market value area low. Now, taking a look at this from a market cipher perspective, let's take a look at what we got here. So obviously we do have the, very similar, right? Like daily red dot is now printing on Ethereum, where it's already confirmed on Bitcoin. 3-day money flow trying to come up. We do have the high time frame divs here, but we still need to see some of this money flow start to shape up. Now, daily is coming to the upside. Maybe that red dot cools us off a little bit, right? Maybe we put in a higher low, then the money flow crosses into the green and gives us the bigger continuation to the upside. But yeah, as far as market cipher goes, I'd say be careful with that daily red dot. Let's take a look at the 12-hour. Yeah, 12-hour not. 8-hour VWAP. Looking like it wants to turn around here. Not really a ton to take away from that, to be quite honest. 2-week green dot also looking to print. It's printing on Bitcoin, only looking to print on Ethereum here, so we'll have to watch that as well. But other than that, I'm paying really most attention to the key levels, right? We're just within this profile. Until we lose that value area low 786 zone, I would be still looking to stay inside this range as long as we can remain above that value area low. POC and value area high might be the next stop. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, this is not really the big level to break above, right? Obviously, we have to get above this value area high if we want to go higher. But I will say this, right? If we look at our main, where's it at, right? Our main volume profile, where's it at? Our main volume profile, the biggest level for Ethereum to get above, in my opinion, is still the value area low at $2,000. We have the local range that we have to look at anyway, right? But, once we get above there, $2,000 is the level to flip above, and then hopefully get the move into the POC. And that's really the doorway to much higher prices for Ethereum, in my opinion. Until then, we're kind of just stuck bing-bonging around down here, right? It's like, hey, are we just going to come test that POC and then get the shot to the upside? Or are we going to see acceptance into the range, move around on that POC, and eventually just, what you would expect from a volume profile, see that fulfill down to the value area low? Obviously going to be dependent on what Bitcoin does as well, but nice to see the daily money flow coming up here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Doorway to higher prices, $2,000 is really the level you want to get above. But other than that, that's what we've been looking at on Ethereum. Not really too much has changed there. Maybe if I could give a little freebie out here, potential scalp opportunity if you get that 8-hour green dot, gives you a higher high into your 786 value area high confluence. Could give you that 8-hour bear div for, some kind of a scalp short to the downside, and maybe even See that continue if things go a little bit more bearish. You can get that scalp entry, take profit along the way, move your stop loss to break even, and then if it does wind up giving you the bigger drop through the profile, potentially targeting $1,300, you could potentially look to ride that down. Now, again, I wouldn't just short the bearish divergence. There's other confirmations that we look for, that we like to look for in the Discord. But I'm just saying, you know, very similar to Bitcoin where we tried to front run, well, not tried to, we did front run the 4-hour bear div before it formed, right? Saying, hey, you know, all the way back here, this is a very useful skill, right? I don't even know if you would call it a skill, but, you know, when you're looking at price action developing here, you're saying to yourself, well, hey, maybe this looks like it wants to create a little bit of a bearish divergence, right? And if you could predict that, right, or front run that, you would say to yourself, well, hey, if we get this, what would we anticipate, right? This just looks, I can't unsee that, right? This just looks, and we did this live on the stream, right? This just looks to me like you might be able to form a bear div. And if that is the case, maybe this green dot on the 4-hour is the thing that gives you the push into your next key level of resistance to print that 4-hour bear div. And that is exactly what we were looking for, and is exactly what we wound up getting, right, before coming down over the weekend. And shout out to the, let me see here real quick. I don't want to leak any of the new info I dropped in here. But yeah, if you if you take a look at the Discord, this is literally, and we talked about it on the live stream as well, but this is literally exactly what we were looking at for that short position. Now, is it going to play out all the way down there? We don't know yet, right? But that's just how we can kind of front run, like, hey, guys, kind of looks like it might print that 4-hour bear div, and you can anticipate not only the next push up, but also what you should be doing as you have that key level of resistance sitting up there, right? You're saying, well, hey, we have key resistance above, high time frame resistance. Looks like we might print a bear div. Once that 4-hour green dot prints, we might be able to get that push up for the rejection. And that did already play out to like 3%. But if we take a look here on Bitcoin at the 8-hour, come on, 8-hour green dot was printing earlier today. This now looks like it might do this as well, right? This actually, let me come on over to out of bar replay mode, right? Last week, right, I was saying, I don't know, guys. I might just get stopped out of that short position because if that 8-hour green dot prints, we might just continue to push up. We never printed the 8-hour green dot, but now it looks like it might want to print. Right now, this also kind of looks like it might want to do something like that, which would call for another push into our higher time frame resistance before potentially creating a bearish divergence. So that is kind of what I'll be looking at to kind of start showing that we could reject there, and also kind of predict that potential move up. If we get that 8-hour green dot, that might be the thing that gives us the power. It's not printing, right? No. So that might be the thing that gives us the power to push up into those resistance zones. So there you go. There's the sauce, baby. There's the sauce. Let's see. Shout out to Hugo. Said, I picked the wrong time to go in the shower and then tidy up the kitchen. Shout out to Hugo's. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. He's just cleaning the kitchen, listening to Frankie Candles. I love it. $2 million Bitcoin by August. Massive short squeeze. Bulls adopted the carnivorous creatures and eat all the bears. Shout out to Nicholas. There we go. $2 million Bitcoin by August. You heard it here first from Nicholas, not Frankie Candles. Shout out to Nicholas. I hope so. That would be absolutely fire. Let's see. Shout out to Vegas Claw said, I knew I shouldn't have eaten the chicken tikka masala. Stomach getting ETH bearish divergences. Oh, God. Let's see. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Welcome in, bro. I'm sure you've been here for a while, but that was the first time I saw you. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Welcome in. Hey, shout out to Brendan. Said, first timer. Thanks for the info, Frankie. Shout out to Brendan. Welcome to the CandleMafia, my friend. Happy to have you here. Let's see. Nicholas says, thanks, brother. No problem, Nicholas. I got you, bro. All right, so there we go. Does ETH market cap leave or go into other coins? Shout out to Chewy. Well, I guess we're going to have to see. Let's see. Erica saying, welcome to the CandleMafia, Brendan C. Welcome to the best crypto community on YouTube and the channel that just gives away the most free value possible. Only other thing I think I could do is just like, I don't know what else we could do. We give away the most free education. And shout out to Brendan. If you want to check out the channel, it's basically a free trading course. Watch the beginner series. It'll get you caught up to everything that we are talking about here on the live streams. Shout out to Aaron said, Brandon, just wait till you see Mrs. Candles. Shout out to Aaron. Oh God. Yeah. Should we show Brendan, amen. Blessings, my friend. Shout out to Brendan. Should we show Brendan, Mrs. Candles? She's actually in the closet right now. Physically, not figuratively. Anyway, let's see here. Okay, so we took a look at Ethereum. Let's take a quick look at Solana. Now, obviously, Solana has been. Let's take a look here, right? We have key support that we were looking at last week being the POC of the range. Still kind of, it's just a random anchored VWAP there. Yeah, PLC of the range at about $142, $143. Still key support, right? Within our volume profile. Just remember, guys. And if you've been watching long enough, you will know this. Anytime, literally anytime we deviate below these volume profiles, this is where you want to be looking for the bounces. When you leave this profile, where are you looking to go next? You have your previous range value area high because price is always seeking fair value. So when you get when you start losing this range, price is very naturally going to seek out the previous area of balance, which is sitting down here in this range. Value area high and the POC were somewhat confluent here. What happens? We come back down to test the POC of the prior range. High time frame bullish divergences. We have the daily, the 2-day, etc. Bullish divergences confirm, right? Once we get above there, you look to get gravitated towards your other previous area balance, right, which is up here. Once you get above that value area low, next likely place for price to go is the POC. Once you get above the POC, next likely place for price to go is going to be the value area high. I would say this looks somewhat nice as long as we can hold above that POC. Even if we come down to test it one more time, if we could stay above that POC, next target, in my opinion, would be between 161.35 and 167.33. Simply put, that's what I would be looking for. Anchored VWAP from the all-time high is also... It's going to move, right? So this might not be confluent at the time, but as of right now, if we were to yeet on up there, it does kind of give you confluence in that same zone. Daily naked point of control, 786, value area high. Again, sitting between, I would call it about 160.50 and 167.45. But other than that, right, like we're just within the profile here. Like if we come down, hold support on the POC, I would look for another move up. If we get a rotation all the way back down to the, I mean, this is, again, kind of the same thing when we look at a higher time frame, right? Like we broke back above these highs. I would like to hold above $130 for the most part. At the, worst case scenario, we come back down to the value area low. But let's see here. We have a weekly naked point of control. I believe this is naked. Yeah. Ugh, man, is this tapped? No, it is naked. Look at that. Barely front ran it. But you do technically have a weekly naked point of control there. So if we pull, let's pull a Fibonacci zone here. Yeah, value area low, simply put. Yeah, I would prefer not to go back down to the value area low. But right now, POC is your key level. Now, remember the POC does act as a magnet for price. So sometimes we do bing bong around it. But I'll say, let's check the daily here real quick. I mean, yeah, we've been closing a bunch of daily candles above that POC. I would say stay above that, looking up here. Lose this, opportunity to bounce off the weekly naked point of control. But again, from a trading standpoint, you'd be longing right into the POC. So I don't really love that. I would rather just wait for a refresh and a tap of that value area low. But yeah, I would say just in general, stay above that POC, looking pretty nice for Solana. And, overall, we'd like to stay above this anchored VWAP from the overall low here at about $94, right? So this is going to move up over time. If we do break below the POC, right, this anchored VWAP will likely trend up, right? Maybe it comes confluent with the weekly naked point of control and the golden pocket 786, right? So that POC support level number 143, right? And then the golden pocket, 786 anchored VWAP, potential anchored VWAP confluence between 130 and 136. But again, it's like, for me personally, it's like you're longing a higher low. You just have to understand if you do long a higher low there, it's nice, right? Hold the anchored VWAP, hold the fib levels. You just have to understand you're longing into resistance, right? So you really got to get above that POC to get the bigger move up. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at. Very, very nice on Solana. Let's hold that POC and hopefully get the bigger move up. Taking a look at Market Cipher B, 10-hour VWAP was rejected pretty grossly here. 8-hour VWAP also rejected. 4-hour VWAP coming up. Not really much to take away from that. Money flow coming out there on the 4-hour as well. Yeah, 2-day. Here's the only thing, right? Like higher time frame VWAPs are rolling over here, guys. So again, it doesn't necessarily mean going to zero, right? But it could indicate a little bit more of a cool off. But for the most part, this looks pretty good to me, right? As long as we stay above that POC and at least the value area low. But those are the sports I'm looking at down below. We'll see if this 2-day red dot does wind up printing. So that's what I'm looking at on Solana. Quick check-in on Bitcoin here. 1-hour money flow crossover into the green. 16-hour green dot looking to print. Like even the 16-hour, same thing with those bear divs, right? Like this looks very, very much, if you could print that green dot, it does look like you could do something like this, which would call for something like that. So we'll see. I have not re-entered my short, even though I got stopped out at break even and was not a fan of that happening. I'm not just like instantly re-entering. I would much rather at this point just wait for the higher level to get hit. Maybe I see a signal later that I want to take the short off of, but right now I would rather wait for the bigger push up into our next key levels of resistance, which we covered in the beginning of the stream. If you're just tuning in, smash that like button if you're just tuning in, by the way, guys. Let's see. More people are finding the like button. Let's go. POC is a chick magnet. Shout out to Gen Z, 100%. Shout out to Hugo, said the kind of middle point with most of the trading volume in the range. Shout out to Hugo's. That would be the POC, baby. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Rocky. Rocky said, Frankie Candles, what is the possibility for alts to be abandoned when only fundamentals are accepted in the future? Shout out to Rocky. Rocky, I mean, listen, I kind of, over the long term, compare this to like the dot-com bubble, right? Some of the best performers in the dot-com bubble just wound up dying, right? Like only the top few are going to make it ahead, right? Like, you know, Google, etc., like Netscape, AOL, right? Like these, obviously, those ones didn't make it. Google did. But yeah, it's very similar, right? It's like, do I think all these altcoins are going to be around forever? Absolutely not, right? Like most altcoins don't even make it to the next cycle. So keep that in mind, right? Crypto is a very speculative asset class, right? We're basically just chasing the hype, which is fine, right? Like, because that's what makes the price pump. You're chasing the hype, and sure, there are a lot of projects out there with good fundamentals, but that doesn't always equal to massive pumps. Maybe over time when it kind of stabilizes and becomes more like legitimate. I think we're still in like the magic internet money stage. But once it becomes more legitimate, I do think like most alts are not going to be around, right? Like I said, most have trouble making it to the next cycle in general. So, yeah, that's kind of where I fall on that. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin dominance real quick. Whoops. So, yeah, I mean, we're still at that POC, which was our next target to the upside on Bitcoin dominance. As you guys know, I was not very, yeah, I mean, like, again, I know a lot of people think that, are we going to see alt season, Frankie? Are we going to see alt season? Listen, we have not seen an alt season yet, right? We saw the little rip here on that rejection that we were looking for at this key level of resistance. But once we break above this value area low, we're just saying, hey, next likely place for price to go or dominance to go would be the POC of the range, right? We got above, right to the POC, flipped it to support, right to the POC. Are we going to see Bitcoin dominance shoot up towards 66.21% at the 786? Last time we got a little bit of an alt season, right, was a rejection from the golden pocket. Once you get above that golden pocket, where's price likely to go next? 786 retracement, right? Obviously the POC in the middle. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here, right? Like if we just look at this from a technical perspective, you do have bear divs forming on the daily, VWAP coming back up. Let's check the weekly red dot printing. Maybe we see a little bit of a pullback here. But in my opinion, right, like we have not seen a real alt season. We've just seen like little mini alt seasons, right? Little dump here. This is what alt season looks like, right? You need an absolute collapse on dominance. So until that happens, it's kind of what we're waiting for. And like the highest probability areas, at least resistance-wise, for that to happen is either the POC, if not 786 at 66.21%. And if not, the next technical level would be 68.87% at the value area high. I'm not saying you have to come up here. I'm not even saying you have to come up here, right? But it's an if this, then that, right? If we come up here and things look super bearish on dominance, that might be like, hey, maybe we can start to anticipate at least some kind of a pullback, lose the value area low. Maybe you just see the ultimate collapse on dominance and we see like a real alt season come in. So, yeah. We'll see what happens. But we've been watching that 64.29% forever. We wicked it, stayed above, and we're back at it, right? So, yeah, takes time for this stuff to play out, but more often than not, it does wind up getting tapped. Let's see. Shout out to Mark Dutch. What is going on, bro? Fartcoin ain't never gonna quit. Yeah, shout out to R-Pink. Yeah, maybe we'll check out Fartcoin as well. Shout out to Spike Gentry. I don't know if I said that right. It says, afternoon all, new here. Looking forward to learning from the Candleman. Shout out to Spike. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. Welcome to the Candleman. We got some new Mafia members here. Let's go. Welcome in, guys. All right, so let's see. We took a look at Bitcoin. We took a look at Ethereum. Took a look at Solana. Took a look at Dominance. Let's take a look at XRP. Again, like, I'll be honest, like, not a ton to update on XRP either, right? We kind of covered this. I think I might cover stuff too much in detail. I got to be more. Maybe I got to be more. What's the word? More vague, right? Because I just cover like everything in so much detail that like we just have to wait for it to play out, and then when it starts to play out, we're like, well. It's just continuing to play out, right? We looked at this as our deviation below our macro range. We had the low volume gap down below, which made us understand that once we break below that low volume gap, we'd probably get a quick drop down. But once we reclaim that value area low, nice reclaim of that value area low, next likely place for price to go at this point would be the 786 POC/weekly sitting up here between 237 and 244. So it's just kind of, it's that journey to the POC, right? It's never just, it's very, not very often that it's just hold the value area low, shoot right up to the high, although obviously it does happen sometimes. More often than not, it is somewhat of a journey, right? Where you go up, down, whoa, whoa, and then we get back into that POC. But yeah, I mean, still target to the upside still remains 238 to about 244. Flip that to support, looking up towards the value area high to 266. But yeah, I mean, not looking too bad. We got the daily money flow crossing over into the green. This is overall a good sign for the overall trend continuation, right? Not an instant Lambo candle, but overall trend continuation. As long as this money flow stays in the green, we could potentially anticipate lackluster pullbacks for higher lows and higher highs. Again, just looking towards that next target. And even if you're not looking at market cipher B, it's, well, hey, you got into the range, flip the value area low to support, and now we can look to target the POC of the range. Let me just pull this to current price action real quick. Stays the same. So targets do remain the same for XRP. Let's check that higher time frames. Weekly green dot is confirmed. 2-week green dot looking to print here. Even the 2-week, I'll be honest. Even the 2-week on XRP, if we can get that weekly 2-week green dot as that daily money flow is crossing over into the green, that market cipher B 1/16 bullish setup. What if we get a bear div on the 2-week? What would that call for? Well, I would call for a new high to be made here, potentially between $4 and $5. Those are the next big targets to the upside. If we break these highs here at about 336, those are the next targets to the upside I'd be looking at. But again, we'll take it step by step here. But yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. We'll see what Bitcoin has in store. Because obviously if Bitcoin dumps, the altcoins are going to follow, guys, unfortunately. Let's see. Shout out to A-Lock said, I appreciate the detailed understanding ranges is important. Yeah, shout out to A-Lock. I would agree with you there. I would, and no problem. That's what I'm here for. Tether dominance has me refraining from thinking we are going to get a full reset here and short-term dip down to about 91K. Shout out to A-Lock. I don't know if you just tuned in, but if you scrub back to the beginning of the stream, that 91K level do be looking, I would like to hold that as well. That's a value area low of our overall previous range. All right, so let's see here. XRP, Solana, Ethereum. What else do we want to look at here? Shall we take a look at SUI? Drop your altcoins in the chat. Rob, let's do like 2 requests here because I do actually have to hop out a little bit early tonight, which basically means we're going to do a full-length stream. But yeah, Rob, drop your altcoins in the chat. Rob, let's do like 2 requests just on the list, and then I'll try to freestyle some. But let's take a look at SUI really quickly. 100K when? Let's see. Shout out to ZXQU. ZXQ. Skew. How do you say that? 100K when? On Bitcoin, 100K on next Thursday at 4 p.m. 100K incoming. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I would say once we get above 97, we have to get above 97, 98K. Hold that as support. Once we do that, we have so much liquidity sitting above there. Actually, didn't even, when we looked at this, I brought this up to show the liquidity above 100K, but we talked about the lower liquidity. We could see here, right? All this liquidity sitting above 100K. we get above 98K, hold that as support, get above that POC of the range, and we start squeezing above 100. It starts at about 99.5. Once we start squeezing above there, we could squeeze into that value area high, getting closer to 105K. A lot of liquidity there. Could act as a magnet for price. Just keep that in mind. What if we take a look at the 3-month? Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Tyler Durden, said ticker sign short, ticker sign stream, ticker sign please. Shout out to Tyler Durden. Let's see. Ada, yeah, we could try to take a look at Ada. Shout out to Jesse. Our like police. Smash that like button if you have not already. If you appreciate the free education and value that we're giving away on this channel, please smash that like button. It helps us out endlessly, and it is free 99. Let's see. Okay, so let's take a quick look. So yeah, again, liquidity sitting at about 99.5. I mean, it could act as a magnet for price. When we look at the higher time frame liquidity levels, about basically 99.5 all the way up to about 103K is the next significant area, and then below the next significant area is 67K. Starts at about 68K, right? So it's like, are we going to come up to that liquidity first or the lower liquidity? You know, hard to say. You would say the closer one's probably going to act as the stronger magnet. So yeah, it is nice that we have all that liquidity up there because it could act as a magnet sucking price up towards it. Okay, so let's take a quick look at SUI. Is this the... Nope. This is our new SUI chart. All right, so let's take a look here. So for SUI, we have a couple different ways that we can look at this, right? You have your previous range from back here, right? Respected here, respected here. You have another previous range up here, respected very nicely. I have all these marked out on the folders. But right now, this is how I would view it, right? Two different ways, right? So let me just go ahead and hide that stuff real quick. Actually, no, I'll keep that. Hide this. Main range, right? So our main range here, this is the larger volume profile. We have gotten above the value area low. We come up, we tap it, get above the value area low. Next likely place for price to go is that POC. We come up, we tap that POC. So at this point, right, the level to get above is the POC at 376. Flip that level to support, look up towards the value area high at 453. And that would be the next target once you get above the POC. Very nice, right? Within the larger range. And if we take a look at our Fibonacci retracement real quick, just pull it from here to the low, right? 786 is confluent with that value area high as well, so that's nice to see. Golden Pocket sits here at about 390. It's like an honorable mention. But once you get above that POC and hold it, we might be able to continue that journey up to the value area high. Not too shabby. Now, locally, if we hide the major range, right, and we take a look at the local range, we are inside, coming down to a, let's take a look at the 1 hour, right? Get above the local value area, come into the POC value area high. This daily naked point of control is tapped. So, yeah, I mean, we are up against local resistance, right? We have the value area high. So I would say this, right? I can't promise that we're definitely going to get a retracement here, but I would say if we do get a retracement, I would be watching down here, value area low 786, daily naked point of control between 313 and 306. So if we get the correction here, this would be nice to hold for a higher low. Maybe you go back to the high of the range and you continue back up. And when you look at this through the lens of your larger range, right, it's like, well, hey, we go back down, retest that value area low as support, and then you can come back up towards the POC, flip the POC, come up to the value area high. So that would definitely be the next area of support, significant area of support that I would like to hold if we do get the bigger correction down. If we just come up and break above the POC, we could look for that move up sooner than later, right? But if we do come down to the bottom of the range, that's zone number one that I would look at for support. Once we lose that, very similar to Bitcoin, right? We want to hold above these highs, value area high / golden pocket / daily. That's a tapped daily, so I'll take that off the chart real quick. So value area high, golden pocket, and this anchored VWAP from the low could be confluent with that level as well. So you have 3 areas of confluence there. If we lose this local range, we would hope that we hold that as a higher low. So if we don't hold this as a higher low, we would look to hold this. And this does sit between 281 and 268. If we get accepted back down below here, that would be more bearish in my opinion. At least, you know, get stuck in this range. POC could be likely. But again, this would be very similar to like Bitcoin losing that $88,000 level that I was mentioning I want to hold. So yeah, that's kind of what I would be looking at there. Money flow, if we take a look at the 8 hour, again, very similarly, 8 hour VWAP, if we could get that green dot, that might be the thing that gives us the higher high on price, right? So when that prints, it looks like it print a bearish divergence. So we could use that to front run the higher high, potentially running into that $4.50 value area high. So yeah, that's what I would look for on SUI. Not looking too bad. We just hide the TA here and look at the higher time frames. 2-week green dot is printing with our daily money flow crossover into the green. That is a market cipher B, 1/16th bullish setup. That is what we want to see. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob said, pin my next comment. Shout out to Rob. Got it. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Appreciate you, Rob. Thank you for that. Liquidity. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Let's go. Pull your fib. Pull your fib. Never in public, guys. Do not pull your fib in public. Bada boom. Just make sure. Oh, yo, shout out to Dude. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you. He said, come on, y'all. 760 viewers are only 297 likes. That button is free. Smash that like button like BTC depends on it, baby. Let's go. Smash that like button. And shout out to Dude. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you for the like push. Let's go, baby. Also, by the way, guys, Do also goes by D3W. Shout out to Do. I like to call him Do. Let's see. Shout out to Blockchain Domain. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. Mzerx says 8 hour green dot. Not quite, at least on SUI. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. Or if you're talking about SUI or not, but this 8 hour green dot has not printed yet. It was going to print and then it got rejected. But once that does print, that could give us that next higher high for a potential rejection. And I'll be honest, right? Like if I just look at this raw. Yeah, you have the... Let me hide this real quick. Right? If we do get that, whether we come up or down first is kind of hard to predict here. But if we do get that higher high, previous value area low does come in here at about 410. That could be a level to watch. Do we have confluence on that level? We do not. We do. Monthly. Actually... Yeah, something like this. 8 hour bearish divergence into the golden pocket monthly level, value area low. Could be a nice opportunity to look for a little scalp to the downside. Not financial advice, of course. But if we did get that, maybe then you get the retracement. That would look nice, though. 8 hour bear div into a massive key level like that. Monthly golden pocket, value area low. Wouldn't be that bad. And this is the full golden pocket retracement from the high to the low there. So very similar to Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's kind of doing the same thing. It's like kind of wiggling around right below that golden pocket. So yeah, almost the same exact thing I'm looking for on Bitcoin. If we get another push up, look for the short there, right? And then we'll look to ride that down, right? And then hopefully we could just close it and look for the long back up to all-time highs or, you know, at least 100K, right? But if we don't and we start losing, could be short from the top potentially. So yeah, that's what I'd be looking at on SUI. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. 3 areas of liquidity. Let's go. Crypto Billy in the chat. Welcome in, Crypto Billy. What is going on, bro? What is going on? Let's see. Hope you're doing well, Billy. Let's see. Look at the love. Billy got love in the chat. Let's go. Yo, shout out to Blockchain Domain, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat. Said, giving my lunch money to Frankie is my favorite thing to do. Shout out to Blockchain Domain. I appreciate you so much, dude. Thank you. You don't got to give me your lunch money, though. Hopefully, I can help you make more and quadruple your lunch money with these trades. Let's go. Shout out to Blockchain Domain. I appreciate you so much, bro. You don't got to do that, Blockchain. You don't got to do that, bro. But I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you. Shout out to Blockchain Domain. I need me a Crypto Billy. Shout out to Brendan. Let's go. Everybody could use a Crypto Billy goat. I would love a pygmy Billy goat. Let's see. All right, so let's continue on here. Let's take a look at. Let's see what's on our list here. Arrow and Ondo. I'll take a quick look at Cardano first. Where's my Cardano chart? Bada boom. All right, so here we are. Not much has changed here since I think we looked at Cardano probably, based off those lines, probably on Friday. So here we are, tapped daily naked point of control. We can now take off. Maybe this is flipping to support, but I'm going to take that off the chart for now. Let's pull this anchored VWAP from the low. So yeah, just strictly from a volume profile perspective, right? We would expect once you get above that value area low, we looked up towards the weekly, monthly naked point of control, the point of control of the range, and the 786 Fibonacci retracement, which was the golden pocket or 786 retracement from this swing high to the low. Flip the value area low to support, we get to move into that level. Now, not unlikely to experience resistance here, obviously. But if we do continue down, we do have the... Yeah, I would say you do have the 786. I'll just give you some key levels here on Cardano. 786, value area low. Golden pocket sitting at about 65 cents. So you would hope at the end of the day, I can get rid of these. These are old. Well, actually, the daily naked point of control is still there. Let me just make sure I don't have any new MPOCs here. Come on. All right, so we do have a new daily right there. We have another daily right here. Boom. All right. Perfect. So these are the next key levels I would look at to the downside on Cardano. You have daily naked point of control, golden pocket confluence. This sits between about 65 and 64 cents. This would be a nice higher low, in my opinion, to hold, to potentially continue the ride through the profile, flip the POC to support, and then look for the bigger move up, potentially targeting towards the value area high of the range. Anchored VWAP would also come in confluent with that level if we move down. That would be nice to see. Daily naked point of control. Yeah, and then you still have the value area low and the daily naked point of control at the value area low here, right? So you have the 786, the daily naked, the 786 value area low and the daily naked point of control between 62 and 60 cents. So these will be the two major or two local levels I would look at for support, right? I would prefer to hold the golden pocket, but if we had to come back down and retest the value area low, that could be another thing. But we've already gotten break in, test of the low, move to the POC. So in my opinion, right, I don't really want to go all the way back down to the value area low. I would much rather flip the value area low to support, target number one POC hit, higher low, break above the POC, and then get the bigger move. So you do have the support down at the value area low, but I would really prefer not to see that because we've already come up and flipped to support with multiple daily candle closures up there. So I would much rather hold this downtrend anchored VWAP. Once you lose that value area low / anchored VWAP, I would feel a little bit more bearish for another drop to the downside, potentially targeting much lower. Daily naked point of control at 56 cents. But hopefully, yeah. Let's check out Market Cipher B on this really quick. Money flow on the daily. I mean, this is the same thing as all the other altcoins, right? Daily money flow crossover into the green or looking to crossover into the green. We could hope that that 2-week green dot winds up printing. It is lagging behind a lot of other stuff. But we could potentially look for a very similar thing there. And then locally, 8-hour, yeah, getting rejected there at the 0 line, 4-hour, yeah, nothing really else to, nothing else super screaming out to me here on Market Cipher B, but these are the levels I would look at. Break above the POC, or break above about 73 cents, hold it at support. You can look for the bigger move up. If we retrace a little bit deeper, I'd like to hold 65 to 64 cents. If we lose that, you would hope to hold the value area low, but again, I wouldn't prefer to come down there, to be honest. I would rather hold that golden pocket, especially if you start losing that anchored VWAP from the bottom. It'd be nice, like if you could fake it out and then reclaim, that would be nice. But if you decisively start losing that anchored VWAP at the time, that would be looking at that as a little bit more bearish. But value area high, the overall macro range is sitting at about $1.02. Definitely going to be other resistance levels we have to watch on the way, but just in general, that larger volume profile. Can we get that next fill of the range to the high? We will see. We will see. Use the stray dog indicator. It works best on weekends. Please note, shout out to Erica. Yes, I found a lost dog, guys, and it's probably going to dump Bitcoin at some point. It would be the 5th time it played out perfectly. But hopefully it's just wrong. Hopefully this is the first fake out. Shout out to Wick's wife, Fine89. Welcome in. And Wick 589. I'm sure he's here. I always have trouble finding his PFP, but shout out to Wick's wife and Wick 589. What is going on? Shout out to Bartos. We actually already took a look at Sue. If you scrub back just a little bit, you'll see my full analysis. When's the next guessing game? Shout out to Nirvana. Maybe we'll do one this Friday. I heard this is where the party people hang out. Shout out to Wick's wife 589. Absolutely welcome to the party. Now it's a party because Wick and Wick's wife just arrived. Let's see. All right, let's take a quick look at Ondo, or actually Arrow. We'll do Arrow first, and then we'll jump into Ondo. And let's see. That's old. This is old. Just get rid of this local range. Let's take a look at the daily here real quick. Yeah. All right. So I would actually, this is nice. I actually like this range. We came down, got inside the volume profile, got to the POC, played around, back to the low, lost the low, came back into the value area low, flipped it to support. POC is the next stop. If this doesn't make you study up on your volume profiles, I do not know what will. The move from the flip of the value area low to support into the POC is so high probability. Even the fill into the value area high is high probability, but at least getting up to that POC is super high probability. So point of control sitting at 66 cents on Aerodrome. This is still going to be that next key level of support, or I'm sorry, resistance. If we take a look at the 8-hour time frame, I would say this does also look very similar. If you could get that green dot on the 8-hour, you might be able to print some kind of a bearish divergence, which would call for a break of the high. Let me pull a fib here real quick. Yeah, I would say the next area of resistance, in my opinion, is pretty much the value area high, right? You have your local 786 value area high confluence. Do we have any daily MPOCs in there? Potentially. No daily. We have a weekly, maybe? No weekly. Monthly? Do have a monthly MPOC sitting just above that value area high. That's a weekly. Whoops. So, yeah, I mean, I would just look at this from a volume profile perspective. Let me pull up the VPVR real quick. Yeah, I mean, these POCs are big. Like, we got to get above these POCs. If so, I would look for a potential flip the POC, pretty quick move through the volume gap into the 786 value area high. So I would look for potential scalp shorts here, or potential shorts in general up here, in case you do get a full rotation on that range one more time. But with the daily money, I mean, I'm just saying, guys, on almost every altcoin, doesn't mean that we're guaranteed to get the instant move to the upside, but these daily money flows are like this is as good as it could be in the situation that we have. Like, sure, red dot might cool us off. You would hope to hold above the value area low at about 50 cents. As long as you stay above there, you could look to continue to respect that volume profile. Money flow continuing to curve to the upside. So, yeah, I mean, I would just pretty much, a longer-term signal here would be that money flow indicating the longer-term trend. Key levels of support, value area low at about 50 cents. Let's pull up the anchored VWAP here real quick. Yeah, I mean, from this higher low, anchored VWAP comes in confluence. Yeah, I would pretty much just watch this value area low. Maybe we have golden pocket confluence down there as well. Yeah. So value area low, golden pocket. You would hope, if you do get a correction, you would hope that you hold that golden pocket to stay inside the range and eventually target the value area high. Once you start losing, I mean, it depends on where this anchored VWAP is. Probably going to be towards the golden pocket. If you start losing that, lose the 786, more bearish in my opinion, right? Again, very similar to Bitcoin, right? Like, you start losing these highs, it's just not as good of a look, right? Because if you pull up Lux Algo here, come on, right? You get the bullish change of character. Candlesticks turn green. At this point, you're hoping that you're going to hold a higher low, right? And if that higher low is going to happen, that golden pocket 786 retracement and the daily smart trail might be another confluence to look at, right? So you get the bullish change of character, candlesticks turn green. At that point, you're looking for higher lows and higher highs to come. right? Same thing with the daily money flow, right? That daily money flow is probably very soon going to follow suit, right? Actually, hilariously enough, I would say they're not the same thing, but the Lux Algo Smart Trail and the let me just mark this out with a vertical line real quick, right? Like, so the Alexa, let me just pull up Market Cipher B real quick. Like, it's not the same thing. They're not the same calculation. They're not, like, identical. But if you look at Market Cipher B, right, it's like Smart Trail turns from bullish to bearish, and then just shortly after that, money flow crosses into the red. These are somewhat similar. And again, it's not that they're the same exact calculation or anything like that, but it does. I use these in the same kind of way, right? I use the Smart Trail as a trend continuation, right, or a filter to whether we should be looking for lower highs and lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, right? Or if we should be looking for higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. So it's kind of similar, right? Like, yeah, you got the Market Cipher B flip happens right here, right? Smart Trail happened just slightly sooner, right? So very similar, right? Smart Trail turns blue. This would be the confluent area to hopefully hold as support. This sits between 50 and 43 cents. So if you do get the correction, I would hope you hold the Smart Trail, hold the value area low, the 786 golden pocket, and continue the move to the upside. So yeah, doesn't look bad as long as we don't break those lows. We want to continue that trend, and these would be the areas I would look at for those higher lows to come in at. So there we go. Let's see. Thank you for Ando. No problem. Shout out to Kenny M. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Yeah, shout out to T Money said, I'm hearing everybody say 100K incoming now. Not a good sign to me. Yeah, shout out to T Money. Typically, not a great sign. Shout out to Peter. Karen says, love you, Frankie. I love you back, bro. I love you back. But yeah, I would agree. Like, again, although we do have the money flow crossover into the green, right? We do also have to understand we are at key resistance, right? We still have to flip 97K to see 100K. We could still very much reject this level, right? And not see 100K before at least a correction. As long as we can hold the higher lows, maybe then we see 100K. But yeah, we do have a ton of liquidity above there, though. But yeah, I do that very oftentimes when people start to get really, really bullish. It kind of makes me think, maybe we're just not going to see that now, right? Because most people just get bullish because we're pumping, right? It's like when we look for bounces or we start to get bullish, we are very often, almost always, bullish as price is coming down. Everyone is calling for death, bear market, bear market, bear market. Hey, guys, I don't fall in that camp. We're coming down to a key level of support with massive bullish divergences, and we look for the moves up before they happen. Most people don't get bullish until after the move happens, right? That's why most people get wrecked. So I would agree with that. Shout out to, I forgot who said that. Yo, can we see ICP? Can you see me pee? I don't know. I could see anyway. Let's take a quick look at ICP. I don't know if we have a. Let me see. Do we have a current ICP chart? Maybe not. There it is. Okay, so let's turn off. Okay, yeah, so for ICP, yeah, you're still within your 2023, 2022 bear market range, right? So you got the big rip out, the retest of the value area high, and then what did we get? We got the lower high, probably on a golden pocket if I had to guess. There it is. Perfect tap on the golden pocket. That would be where you're looking for a lower high before a lower low comes to break structure to the downside. And you wound up getting that. Obviously, hindsight, but if we were looking here, we would have been looking at that golden pocket for key resistance. Because if money flow is coming out on the higher time frames and you're looking for lower highs and lower lows to come, where's that lower high likely to come in at? Very often, it's the golden pocket, 786 Fibonacci retracement. So now we're just back within our volume profile here. We got break below the value area high, retest on the value area high, which was also Never mind. So yeah, the value area high, this fib is different. But once we got back into the range, bearish retest. POC was very likely going to be the next stop. We barely front ran it. So yeah, I mean, I don't see any sign of strength here just yet from just the market structure, right? This is in a very clear, aggressive downtrend. We have not broken any significant structure or anything like that. Really, to see this thing kind of show some signs of strength, I would like to get out of this value area / golden pocket 786 retracement, which is sitting between 724 and 418. No. Sitting between 605 and 661, right? Because at the end of the day, this fib is pulled from the, actually, I would pull this from this high, which doesn't change it much, right? But we look at this and we say, well, hey, if we're going to retrace here, yeah, I don't know. You really got to get out of this range, get above the value area high at 617, get above the 786 at 675. Then you could potentially look to get accepted into some of these higher prices. But right now, like, there's really no sign of strength on ICP, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it can't come up. But as of right now, you know, you do have the slightest bullish divergences, right? You do have some bull divs here on the higher time frame, such as the 2-day. Higher lows, like 3 drives of lower lows. Maybe that was the bottom, but I'll be honest, within the profile, we never tapped the POC. So I would say if we come up here, this is key resistance. I would potentially be looking for shorts back down there. If you break above that 786 at 679, that's kind of the doorway, in my opinion, to see a bigger break to the upside. You're getting above these previous highs. You're starting to change your trend, right? But right now, it's just kind of like, I mean, you just draw a simple trend line here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. Maybe we broke out of this trend line. Yeah, but I wouldn't consider that necessarily a sign of strength. I'd really like to break these highs here. Get out of this range. That would indicate a bigger move to the upside. But daily money flow is still trying to come back into the green. So, you know, it looks the same as all these altcoins look exactly the same, right? As far as market cipher. Money flow coming up on the daily. We would hope that the 2-week green dot winds up printing at the same time, which it does look like ICP could set up for, right? So just because you're in the volume profile does not guarantee that you have to come down to the POC and value area low. But really, to show any kind of sign of strength, you really want to get out of here. You want to break these highs and send it up to these this upper volume profile starting at 752. And that's what I would look for. But yeah, until then, not really any kind of a trading situation that I would entertain here. So there we go. Let's see. Shout out to Ken Barkoff. What is going on, bro? He says, we need dominance to come down and an alt season. Let's go. Shout out to Ken Barkoff. Let's get it, baby. Let me see your ticker. I'm not wearing a watch today. I don't have a ticker on me, unfortunately. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's make sure. Shout out to Tony D. Said reported. Let's see. Who got reported? Hot dang. Let's see. Stop making fun of ICP. Shout out to Alex. Not making fun of ICP. I hold ICP. But yeah, I would like to see this break some higher prices, in my own personal opinion. Shout out to Hate Trader. Said, hey, Frankie, what's good? What's going on? Hey, long time no see, bro. Welcome back in. Yo, shout out to Getchy says, do you have anything on your desk that we can guess? We might do one. We might do one of those on Friday. I think we'll do one of those on Friday. You're the second person to ask about that. That's pretty funny. Let's see. Yeah. Oh no. Oh, Tony, did you? Tony, I hope you didn't report Hate Trader. Shout out to Hate Trader. I don't know if that's what we were talking about, but shout out to Hate Trader. But let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Bitcoin pumping. Let's see. 95K. Broken. It's going to $1 million, guys. It's going to $1 million. Let me pull up the actual Bitcoin chart here. So, yeah, just to reiterate, there's that 8-hour green dot. Yo, imagine we come on the stream tomorrow and we have that pumped to the upside with the higher high on price action by front running the 8-hour potential bear div. Just to bring up the next key levels to the upside, I will bring these up real quick, right? So I will hide the tapped daily naked point of control just because we already tapped that. So we have the weekly right on the golden pocket. We have the daily right on that golden pocket and the weekly. And we also have the, monthly naked point of control, right? So the next, I know this is a big zone, right? This is a very, 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 this is the very large zone of resistance, right? Really between where we're at right now, right? Or I should say by 96 all the way up to about 98.3 is the biggest, most important level of resistance to get above, right? So I will be looking for shorts in here if we push up on the 8-hour into this next zone, right? And I do separate these for the trading purposes, right? I'm not just going to like short here with a massive stop loss above this high. I typically like to look at this as a couple different zones, right? So I would look at something like this. So if we do get a push in here, this would be the next big level of resistance. Maybe we shoot up. I don't know if we're going to come all the way up to 98K. Again, this is a one big zone, but I will separate it into two smaller zones, right? So it's a little bit more palatable. Maybe we get the bear div formed into there for a potential rejection. If we break above there, maybe we could push into 98.3 to put in a larger bearish divergence. But this is definitely between 96 and $98,300 is the big level of resistance. And if it does give us a rejection, you guys now have the key levels of support. If you don't know what I'm talking about, scrub back to the beginning of the stream. I show the key levels of support that we want to hold. But that's pretty much what I'm going to be looking for, right? Once we get above those levels, whether it comes, I would think it's going to come with some kind of a rejection, or if we just rip above it and we start flipping these levels to support, this is still the major zone that we have to hold as support in order to call for those new highs, or not new highs, but higher prices, targeting between 100 and 103K first, after that, 105K, and then after that, potentially new all-time highs. But we have to see the reaction we get here at this major resistance level because it is the macro golden pocket from the all-time high to our current low, and it could be a very dangerous area if we are going to get a bigger rejection. It could be very dangerous. But right now with money flow crossing into the green, I will be, as of right now, anticipating higher lows, lackluster retracements to the downside for higher lows and higher highs to come, right? And you guys now have the zones where I'll be looking for those bounces. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, scrub to the beginning of the stream so you guys can check it out and have all those key levels on your chart. But with all that being said, guys, that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and we are here just at another full 2-hour stream. I said it was going to be a short stream. I told you guys. I told you. But yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We'll see what happens. If you just tuned in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream to get my full thoughts on the market. Shout out to Hade Trader. Said, no problem, bro. I assume Tony accidentally blocked Hade. I unblocked you, bro. He's just repping the CandleMafia, but sometimes when we see the logo, we're like, oh my God, hacker, or whatever, scammer. But shout out to Hade. We know you're not a scammer, so shout out to you, bro. But shout out to Sweet Biddy McGee, Hugo's Skill RX, Jesse, Dave Digital dropping the Bitcoin Jack-o'-lanterns, Rockstar Cola, Erica. Tony D said literally exactly what happened. Shout out to Tony D. I kind of saw that happening out of the corner of my eye. So I just saved you. Hade, I saved you, bro. I saved you. We're glad that you're not hidden forever. That's why we love your long streams are the best. Shout out to Kodan. I appreciate all of you guys. Hopefully you found some value in this free educational live stream. If you did, smash that like button on your way out. And I will see you guys here tomorrow, same place, same time, right here. 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Coach, what's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, thought they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high? Through it all, I stay the same. I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right. I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life. I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose, and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
Brendan C., are you still here? I promised, well, I didn't promise, but I said maybe we'll show you Mrs. Candles because you're new to the Candle Mafia, and this is either going to make you stay forever or scare you away forever. But this is Mrs. Candles. This is my girlfriend. This is the one that brought me out for Wagyu for my birthday on yesterday. Here she is in all of her glory. She's not plastic. I know she looks plastic. Everybody says that. She says really, really smooth skin. And sometimes we sniff her hand, and it helps pump Bitcoin. So shout out to Brendan. You're going to be seeing a lot more Mrs. Candles here on the show. And that's all we got. Anyway, shout out to the Candle Mafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. Smash that like button on your way out, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here. You know the rest. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah.